This week on Let's Try This Again.
There is not one business that exists that is successful that has not failed at something. Amazon started selling books. Books. That's it.
The thing is that nowadays you're failing in front of millions. So you think.
Right. So you think.
So you think. You only get shown to 10% of your followers.
Yep.
And if you fail, so what? Talk about it. And if you're always so damn perfect,
yeah, it's
you're not
realistic.
relatable.
You don't want to talk about poop on the mic? Because you know we will. Okay. I'm like, because you know we will.
I love poop. What kind of poop do you get? Like the Pebbles Houdini poop?
Oh my God.
That's shaped like Dr. Oz said.
This is funny because I get
poop is
really
healthy.
shy. I'm like getting red.
So I can't find a boyfriend.
Are you started? Oh, great.
God.
Oh my gosh. Hi, you guys. Let's just keep that intro. We were talking about poop.
They were talking about it.
No, Jaz was
talking about poop in Paris.
Welcome back to the Let's Try This Again podcast. These beautiful ladies next to me are gorgeous, and I have on shades because I'm going to have to take them off because of the glare, but y'all know, I'm trying to hide. I ain't got no makeup on. I did my morning routine. My frontal is pushed back. I pulled my baby hairs out. And then Jaz always trying to learn something about Black culture. She'd be like, well, I can see something on your edge, but I don't know what it is. I'm like, Jaz, it's glue. She's like, well, how do we get that off?
I just want the right terminology because I've made mistakes before.
I'm going to tell y'all what Jaz did, y'all. We were at a photo shoot and we had a black ethnic model who had waves in his head and he had lint in his hair. So what does Jaz do?
No, wait, you have to tell me. They told me to do it.
Who?
Someone said, lint roll his head.
She lint rolled
And
this
so
man's
I went
waves.
and grabbed the lint roller.
But it wouldn't have been bad, but she went backwards.
That's the wave pattern?
She went backwards on a nigga's head.
The worst part is that it was so innocent.
Jaz was like, I am so sorry.
I knew immediately because everyone just stared. It was
We were like,
so
Jaz.
awkward.
She was like,
told you to do that? It was the one white person on set.
probably Caleb. Caleb is our white photographer.
That man took hours overnight to get those waves.
Oh my God.
I felt so bad. That was really embarrassing.
Jaz, it's okay though.
I was so
It's
embarrassed.
fine. Shoot, it's fine.
Okay, so since then, it is my mission to
To
learn.
understand. What's your nationality?
I'm Mexican,
Okay.
Spanish, French. Actually, I did the 23andMe and I'm like all sorts of stuff, but those are the primary.
Did you have any African?
Yeah, I did.
What?
Like let me see if I can pull it up.
She's like, I actually did. I'm Nigerian.
I got like 12% Nigerian. I was like, that's a scammer in me.
Did you?
Oh my God,
26%.
did you say that's the scammer?
For sure, the
Yeah.
scammer.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all know.
Whenever
don't
I
play.
get over on somebody about something, I'm like, that's Nigerian in me.
That's the Nigerian hustle, baby.
I know.
Have you been to Nigeria?
No, I've never been to Africa.
I went to Lagos. It was really nice.
I think I saw it when you did that.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm scared to go by myself because it's like, what if I end up somewhere I'm not supposed to be?
100%. Let's go together. But then we need to go with somebody else.
With
Don't
the-
go with
with
me.
the I'm gonna take you somewhere, and I'm confident when I'm wrong.
Baby.
I'm like, that seems the right place to go.
Now we're kidnapped.
We're done.
That's
They'll bring us
scary.
back.
Did you find it?
It's telling me
It's
to
fine.
log in.
Okay, too much.
Okay.
But I really want to know.
Okay, well,
She wants to know how much
We're not going
African she
anywhere.
has.
She wants to know. She's going to be 2.5%.
I know.
But you guys, if you have never heard of or heard the Let's Try This Again podcast, I'm your host, b.simone. Here we are in my lovely home. My girls, they flew in. We're actually shooting something very, very special. I could take these shades off now. I felt cool with them on though.
You look really cool, but also kind of like, why?
It's like
there was someone in the club.
y'all tell me, should I? Yo, what's your? Oh, Lecrae just text me.
Amen.
Hey, Lecrae, God pray for me, brother. I can't keep them on.
I mean, you can.
What's it giving?
You're a scammer.
Nigeria. It's giving your Nigerian part. It's giving hangover, and I don't even drink anymore. Let me tell y'all, I just like them.
Listen, your
Gaza.
real flex is the fact that you're wearing your skin out like that, and it looks
Mhm.
amazing. So
Right?
flex
It looks
it.
so good.
Flex it.
Thanks,
No
guys.
lashes, no nothing. Just straight natural.
My
Straight
skin's
skin.
been struggling.
It looks so good.
I have makeup on. And the hard thing is that I felt very privileged. I've had really good skin like my entire life. One or two pimples here and there.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden last year, it was like, ooh, we're going to just sprinkle some acne in your life. And I was like, all right, like before the wedding. And I was like, oh, it's totally
Not
stress.
before the wedding.
Before the wedding. It started.
I said, this is not
Is this a sign? I would have been like,
I know. You think everything is a sign when you're doing something like that.
I was like, it's stress, hormones. I have PCOS too. So like my hormones are just like all over the place, all the time. And I got my diet in order. I was losing weight. I was working out all the time. I was like, what the fuck is going on with my skin?
It could have been the sweating.
And it just like progressively has gotten worse. And what's hard about it is I don't know how to put makeup on it because I'm like, I've never dealt with this my entire life. I'm 32 years old.
Did you go to a
and I have to
dermatologist?
learn how to put makeup on my pimples. At 32.
Have you gone to a dermatologist?
I have not yet.
All right.
But I did. Well, I was going to my esthetician, and then we were trying to roll things out.
The lady
and, like,
I
trying
met?
to change. Yeah,
She was nice.
she's the best. Shout out
Well,
to
y'all,
Bevan.
this is Jaz.
Oh yeah, sorry. Hi.
This is Jasmine.
Hello. Nice to meet you guys.
My girl. Y'all met her. She's been on the mic before. She was on Know For Sure. She was on behind the scenes on one of the episodes. She is just a little angel from heaven. She is an entrepreneur, a CEO of her own brand. She has Muy Matcha and all these things, her brand, and she puts out fires. Do you hear me? She is the firefighter. You remember Lil Wayne's song? How's that song?
I thought I was a cop.
Oh. No, see, thank you, Angel.
Oh, yeah. Wee. I'm like,
No, fireman. It's the fireman. Yeah, that one. The little ghetto one. Look at Angel. Angel ghetto. Look at her. She said, I know that one. So yeah, she's a firefighter and she works for my company. She works for all things b.simone. She is just behind the scenes doing operations. I mean,
she makes things look pretty.
she makes it look so easy.
Easy, and then it's like
Organized.
Yes. The fonts are always on point.
Thanks.
Things I noticed that I can't do.
And then we have Carlita Gonzalez Maria Garcia. That is not her name. But that's my little Carlita, my Latina mommy. She is one of the reasons why I have a successful podcast. She has her brand idea to launch and she launches podcasts. She launched Know For Sure. I brought her back for Let's Try This Again to try it again. And we're going to just talk to
2
you
weeks
guys.
prior.
No.
2 weeks priar to one. I have an idea. Out in 2 weeks.
You know, we find out
Y'all,
information.
just
at the same
get it
time.
out. Get it out. I'm going to move my mic. Go ahead.
I said, what? I have something to say. I'm actually going to be in Orlando. I'm like, okay. I want to do something. Okay. Fine. I was like, we could do that. I ran upon when? 2 weeks, my birthday.
I feel like we're the same too, where we're like super blunt with her. We're like, all righty.
Okay.
Here we
Got
go.
it.
I mean, we can make it happen.
Right. But sometimes I feel like that is a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
Correct.
So when we make
For
things
sure.
look very easy, and for you, I think it's in the way that you move and how you market things and how you're so talented. It looks so easy. The other thing, people will just be like, well, that wasn't that much work.
Ooh.
I have 6 people working here. We're up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
getting things done. So it just
Yeah.
looks easy because we don't put that pressure on you. But I feel like that's what makes you a good business woman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To be able to not let your client feel that fire.
Yeah. And what makes the outcome so beautiful too. I am going to take my glasses off so I can see you guys. These felt really good, but I felt like, those people in the club where it's like, are you talking to me or not?
That's what I didn't know what you were looking
But
at.
it felt so like I'm about to go to sleep because it's really dim in the light, but I'm like, wake up and be on this podcast. Because I was like, woo, this
She said, I'm going to let y'all talk.
What?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, sounds good.
We lost.
Y'all
Okay,
were
Jaz, let's go.
y'all storytelling. I'm like, this is a good bedtime story. But
So we're putting you to sleep.
for
is
sure,
what you're saying.
no, don't do that. It was great. But what I was saying was it's also good. I don't know what I was saying.
When we
That's what makes, sorry, you guys. That's what makes good, real, in the moment content too. When you could do it in the moment, it is very stressful, but it's organic because you're making content and you're making ideas and stuff based off how you feel and your reality in the moment. Well, for me, that's how I create.
I was about to
for me,
say,
I think it's
balance.
different when you're creating content versus when you're like managing
making a
the
business. For sure.
Yeah.
But it's bad because you have to plan, but it's good because it's organic marketing.
sometimes you end up paying more
You do.
to have things done. And that way, because sometimes I'd be like, well, if we just would have took a little bit longer,
For
or
sure.
if you would have pre-planned something,
For
we wouldn't
sure.
have to rush things and
Mhm.
stop what we're doing.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's like, you already know a vision, you want it, and you're able to execute it. You have a team to execute it, and then you have a plan to monetize it.
For sure.
Mhm.
So, and sometimes monetization is not money. And I always say that to people, there's currency and relationships or currency and doors that you can open and other opportunities and people that you can put on. So
And
all
building,
of that comes back.
Yeah.
Building the numbers of the brand. I think you said that, Jazz, too, which we'll get into because you guys always ask, how did you start a podcast? I want to start a podcast. Da, 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 da. These two women are a huge reason why this podcast exists and how it is maintaining and everything. So we are going to get into your questions and stuff about, starting a podcast. But you said when we started, I'm like, it seems much slower than, the impact and the boom we had with Know For Sure, which is just very, very different. It was a different time. It was a different dynamic. Very different. People loved the relationship. It was just a beautiful thing we had. It's almost like once in a lifetime moments that you have in your brand and your business.
It was a beautiful season.
It was a beautiful season. Yeah. It was a beautiful season, what we did. But we talked about trying not to chase like past accomplishments. Like with b.simone Beauty, we made $1 million in a month. If you make $5,000 in a month, that's still a win. You know what I mean? So trying not to chase that. And I was looking at the numbers and I'm like, dang, it seems like it's moving so slow. She was like, but it's moving. Like it's a new brand. It's new. We're still, even though you have a platform, even though we've done this before, we're still trying again and starting over. We're starting over with more knowledge and more, intention. And we know each other's dynamic. But Jazz is like, we're still starting over, like in some way, shape, or form. Not from ground zero, but like it's still moving.
You're starting over, but you have more tools in your tool chest.
Yes.
And you have more knowledge on like what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is like you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge shift.
Yeah. It's a very big difference going from having multiple people on a mic constantly to you having to figure out who you want to talk to, what's the content, keeping the conversation going.
What?
Not knowing if someone's going to stutter.
What? Or not say anything.
Right. Or shut down in the middle of it or feel like I don't want people to listen or call you afterwards and say, I need you to edit 30 minutes of that hour.
Nuts.
Waivers.
And I just said that a second ago, y'all. I think we cut it out. Maybe we didn't, maybe we did. But we had a little break because the air came on and I was like, oh, I'm glad y'all could talk. But it's also because we know each other and we've been through a lot together personally and we have this dynamic. But this helps me as a host. Like you said, having somebody on here that don't say nothing, it's like, that is, like, do we keep the episode?
It's kind of embarrassing sometimes. I'm like, I feel like I'm going to put them on a limelight. That's not cute and to get them to be bullied because they're not able to express themselves. But there are a lot of cameras in front of us. There's crews, there's cables everywhere. So if you're not used to all these lights on your face, you're like, oh my God. And then it looks like you don't know what you're talking about. Or maybe your personality sucks when really you're just kind of like a deer in headlights.
Maybe your personality.
Yeah, no, sometimes people look like their personality sucks.
To be honest, I'm way more comfortable on that side than on this side.
Yeah.
But it's not uncomfortable for me because I feel like I'm so used to being around production.
Around it.
But it's definitely different when you're in front of it and you're so used to being behind the scenes.
And
like
you
it's a transition.
into lights
it's a
and
transition.
cameras.
I had to do jumping jacks. I was like, I'm tired.
No, I get it. But no, in the podcasting space or in any business, you walk into someone else's business that's not your zone of genius. And you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Honestly, people just be yourself. Forget about everything that you see.
When people first come and they want to start a podcast, how do you know if they're going to succeed or not?
That's a good. Oh, come on, Jazz. Thank you so much.
They come.
That was such a good question. God, that was good. I was like, where do I take it from here?
I felt it.
What was the question?
When people come to you to start their podcast, how do you know if it's going to succeed or not?
Or do you?
I don't know if it's going to succeed, but I do know.
What are the characteristics that you see in the successful podcast?
I can tell by having a conversation with someone how invested they are into the topic or whether they want to do it for themselves or because they saw somebody else do it. So immediately I'll tell who I'll bring on as a client and who I won't because there are some people that just want to do it because it seems like it's something new to do or
it's the new trend.
The new trend, whatever else. But there's a lot of work to do behind here and you're either going to spend time or money. Is one of the two. Yeah. So you have to figure out what you have. It gets overwhelming at times. There's times that you don't want to do it. Are you going to keep going? And I also look at other things that they've done on their own. Like how long did it last? How consistent are you with everything else that you do before you bring on this as a business at the end of the day? Whether you're making money or not, you have to look at it as a business from day one.
And you're not just doing it for the money. Like Carla's not just going to take your money. She's going to be like, baby, She'd be like, look, whatever is best for both of us.
No.
I do not need this little money. It's not little money.
It's not little money.
It's not little money, by the way.
I need it.
Let's not.
But,
but she's not, I'm just saying that's not like your number one.
It's not.
Why you would take a client.
I've taken clients that pay a lot of money, and I will tell you the stress and the anxiety that comes from it.
It's not worth it.
No, I can see why people will jump off. Not even being literal. They will jump off buildings from the stress that you have from the anxiety that some clients bring you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like choosing who you work with. And that takes time. I've had clients from hell.
Yeah.
Literally, and I'm like, what? And they weren't even paying that much. That's when I started. But I needed all of that.
It's always the smaller ones that have like the most requirements. But I was talking to B about this and I was like, it's so weird saying it out loud, but
to me,
B, like she's my last client. Like,
really?
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit
what
about,
does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if everybody, even Carla, like when you say like your last client, like,
like,
what do you do?
So I do business management for a lot of people. And my business was to bring on clients. You know, like that's how I was going to grow my business. But then it really changed the last couple of years and I've just become more invested in the clients that I have. So I went through a big transition last year and kind of shifted the clients that I was focused on. Okay. And I realized that within that shift, I was like, I don't think I can be in the service business that much longer. And I want to give all to the clients that I have now. And then from there, I'm going to focus on the other businesses that I have. Okay. But I don't think I'm going to continue being this.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the sermon where it's like your purpose changes throughout your life.
Yeah.
And you have to merge into that. Like you had a season where it was client-based. Now you're like, okay, you have to move. You're not going to have the same purpose forever.
Every single
life
season
changes. There's different things that come about. And it's like, you need to be able to shift and shift quickly without feeling like you're leaving something behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like I have the opportunity, like I have people that want to work with me and I just don't have the bandwidth, first
Number
of all.
one.
I'm like, we are so busy doing so many things and I'm really invested in everything that we're building.
For
so
LTTA.
it just, coming soon. And it just makes sense for me. It's like, I can't, because of that reason, like managing people and managing businesses is a lot of work.
And that's
when
another
you are
thing.
behind the scenes, you are like doing all the things. All the things.
And it's not just you. How big is your team?
Girl.
Stop
There
it.
is me, myself, and I right now.
Yep.
I did just bring on an assistant, but I had a team last year and then shifted.
Yeah.
So I have contractors, but like actual team, me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
That to me has been my biggest game changer.
The team.
Having a cool, dope team that I choose, that I've, curated personalities and my take home is much lower than what it could be. I could spend a lot more hours working, but I rather pay at the highest rate and get the best work and delegate. And that's how I can grow and continue to work.
But see, that's where my pivot happened because that's what I was doing. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to manage people. Okay. My genius is in being involved. Okay. And where I provide value is knowing all of the things and like brainstorming and coming up with ideas. And like, I can't replace, like, I'm not replaceable. I can't delegate my genius to anyone else.
And who executes it?
Well, that's the contractors. Like the execution part is like, we bring contractors in to like do whatever needs to get done. But I have the skill sets. Like I can do everything. I shouldn't do everything, but it's great that I can.
Yeah. Okay.
And the things that can be delegated are. But like my business sense is where I provide the most value.
Yeah.
And that's not something that I could bring someone else in. And what I mean by like, I'm not bringing on more clients and like the way that I almost like consult for businesses, that might be something that I do, but I'm not going to be as involved in other businesses outside of like what I'm doing right now.
I love that you say that because I didn't realize that was a talent.
What?
Being a business consultant and having ideas. When someone tells you, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, okay, you can do this, and put it on e-commerce and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
people's
like, I never
brain don't work that way.
My brain does not work like yours at all, but I have all these ideas. She helps me organize them. Like, she's like, okay, like, let's get structure. Like, I know you have this, you want to do this, you're a visionary for this, but let's do this first, then invest the money into this. Like, I want to do so many things at once, or I pivot so quickly because I'm so creative, I guess, and just like, I believe anything can happen.
Are you neurodivergent?
Are you what?
Do you have ADHD or anything like that?
Oh, I thought you said divergent.
Neurodivergent.
No, I don't know. What does that mean?
ADHD, autism.
I don't think so. Maybe ADHD.
I have ADHD.
Maybe ADHD.
I have ADHD, but I've learned to like lean into it. That's why I'm so detailed. Because my brain is thinking 5 things at the same time.
I might have
I used to
ADHD.
dislike it.
No, so I'm not detailed. There are different sides of like it's a spectrum at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So mine, I'm constantly going and trying to get those thoughts like organized, not working.
Yeah.
I have to have someone when I'm on calls. Like I have Angel, I have multiple people there, and
taking
I'm just
notes and
spewing things out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just grab what I said because once I'm done talking, I don't remember it.
That's it.
I'm like, what did I want to do again?
Yeah.
That was a really good idea, but I forgot.
Yeah.
What was it? So writing things down, sending a text. I'll have an idea for a video or a reel that I want to do, or I'll see some of I'm like, hey, cut this up, and I'll call Kason. I'll smoke a little, because it slows my thoughts down. And I'll call,
slow me down.
Hi, I'm like, Kason. So I want to see this, and that, and then the next day he sends me. I'm like, you brought it to life. Like that's amazing to have people on your team that can do that. But for me, being neurodivergent, I don't think like other people. I react very different. I have sensory issues. So all of that, and then I'm a mom of like 2 neurodivergent kids. So all of that becomes, I think, when you're seeing vision and you have all these things, we have to know to get someone else to get us in line.
Yeah. And I think
execute.
that's for sure what you do for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I convert. No, but it's good.
It is good.
It's great.
I'm doing
Once
so
you lean
much better.
into it, it's a superpower.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
can
for
touch
sure.
it.
And when you
For
know
sure.
yourself, like you need to stop trying. Like we had talked the other day, you guys, after about 40 minutes on a call, anything after that, I am tapping out. Do you hear me?
Like a business call?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now
But
you're talking
like-
logistics.
But Jaz can go. She's like, when she has her schedule, she's like, we can do a 2-hour. I'm like, after 40 minutes. But then I know like, okay, I need to have my calls at the beginning of the day. I can't have a 6 p.m. call.
No.
That's the most important. Like I'm done for the day. So just knowing yourself and applying that to each aspect of your life or business is just like,
It's important.
Your May is
my
that
Jaz.
for me. Yeah.
Really?
So I can call her. She's in LA, so we'll call super early.
Yeah.
And then run through my thoughts. She's like, okay, let me just put it in a spreadsheet and a document, and we'll the calendar logs telling us an agenda. Oh, her agendas. She's like, we're not getting distracted because she gets just as distracted, but she's organized.
I still need someone. Like we had an assistant that was phenomenal.
So helpful.
Yeah,
oh, gosh,
it was like great.
good.
So now I'm hoping I just found someone else, and fingers crossed we have that because I can do it, but it is a lot for me to do both. Because I'm like converting the vision into strategy, and then to convert the strategy into organization of like what are the next steps to execute takes a lot of
bandwidth.
Because it's like I'm doing multiple things. And I thrive more in the creative than the like I'm very structured, but it isn't like my favorite thing in the world. Like
you
I
have to try really hard at it. You have to really focus.
Yeah.
That's draining.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, but it's good too because it's like I have a really good memory. So like I will remember things really, really well.
That's electric.
Ooh, and I don't.
No,
I'm like, what did we eat yesterday? She's like, do you remember when you fell down the steps and we went to the emergency room? I'm like, no.
But I remember random facts, like the most random things I'll remember. Like somebody's cup was green. Why do I remember
Why do you know that? But you don't
No.
remember getting surgery on your knee?
No. Don't remember a lot of things.
All right, y'all. So look, obviously we're talking about entrepreneurship. We're all entrepreneurs. We all have our own business. So we're going to try to give y'all some gems, some help, because a lot of questions I get are from you women that want to start businesses, want to start podcasts, want to have your own brand, want to have your own business, and y'all don't know where to start. Good luck.
Stay at your job.
You know what? I feel like
don't clock out. Just keep your 9 to 5 and keep praying. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like people don't like this answer, but I think step 1 is doing your research.
Yes.
Like
for sure.
Like
I don't think I've ever done research.
People Okay.
That's why guess what? I lost money. I lost time. I did not build a solid foundation.
Yes.
A lot was learned with tears and sweat.
But those are all lessons.
But here's the thing, like B was in a place of She was in a place of privilege to be able to do that with her business, where she was able to hire people to learn and could afford to make those mistakes
because my following and the
like
finances I had built.
And honestly, like the thing you need to give yourself credit for is that you were really financially savvy to save as much as you did. Like you were not spending your money. You would have not gotten that far had you burned through everything, and you wouldn't have been able to bring people on that could teach you the things that you don't know.
For sure.
But I think that a lot of times people come and they're asking questions. They're like, what is the first thing that I need to do? And it's like, research.
Yeah.
Research. There's TikTok University.
Yep.
YouTube University.
Yep.
Google University. If you ask me a question you didn't Google.
Like how to start an LLC.
Don't ask me, hey, how do I start a podcast? I'm ignoring you.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring you because there's so much information out there. You should come to me and be like, hey, where should I start my RSS feed at? Which media host should I use?
Right.
That I will answer free.
Right.
Quick question.
Right.
And go, because I know you're doing something. Oh, how do I do this?
No.
I'm not answering that. Or like right now, I just started the 360 photo booth. They're like, oh my God, how do I start one? I am figuring it out on my own, but the ebook is coming up.
But in about 2 months, you can get this for $99.99.
You sure? I like 97.
Right. Oh my God,
I like to put it on. I like that.
I like that. It just feels a little cheaper.
Yeah, it's not
Anything you can Google, y'all, please don't.
Google it first. And also, what is your why? One of my very first things in my course is, what is your commitment? Why are you doing this? What is your purpose? Because you're going to be in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year. Sometimes you're going to see yourself without any money.
Yep.
And it's like, but why did you start? You have to go back to that why. If you don't, then you're going to quit.
Yep.
You're going to quit if you don't have a purpose for whatever that business is. And if you're money oriented,
out the window.
And you might get it and then lose it.
Are you passionate about what business you're starting, or do you think it's going to be successful and you're chasing the money?
That's what I was going to say.
Because if you're chasing the money, go buy a franchise.
Yeah.
Like if you're not passionate about starting your business, there are ways to be an entrepreneur, a business person that aren't as involved. Maybe you won't make as much. I'm not sure how franchises work, but I don't think there's
But you have to have money down for that. So it's like, where you
but I'm saying like that to me is like a different avenue
than starting a business. Like starting a business, you need to do something that fulfills you and something you're super passionate about. Like a lot of people are starting hair, starting lashes, because all of these things are trending now, but it's not truly your passion. Like what makes you happy? What are you good at? What is your gift? Start there. Don't just say you want to start a podcast and you really you're not even vulnerable. You really don't even want people to know your business. Well, you don't need to start no podcast.
Right.
You know, like you have to be able to speak on some type of topic and something that you have also made it through and you have groundwork in. Like you can't, I want to start a podcast about how to start a business. You haven't started a successful business yet. So how are you starting a podcast on that topic? I can start a podcast on how to make $1 million, how I made $1 million. Because I've done it.
It's how you did it.
I
There's
did it.
so many different ways. There's so many businesses, so many podcasts because we're coming from entrepreneurship. And I'm a business major. I have a business major. My father was an entrepreneur. So I come from the business world. And at the end of the day, everyone has a different path to get there. So it's like, find someone who's similar to you.
Yes.
Who has I'm like, oh, I relate to her in some type of way. And see, ADHD. I'll tell you that later. Find somebody that's like you and then see their blueprint and how they got there. And there could be multiple people for that. You can have 2 or 3 people that you look up to and then find ways to get into rooms with them and watch what they do. And then find your zone of genius. I told you I was listening to the book, The Big Leap. Yeah. And it talks about you need to find your zone of genius.
Your zone.
And how to get there. So it's huge to like get past whatever insecurities you may have. But it's like, once you know your zone of genius, that's where you work. And you're willing to do that work for free. Yeah. And when you're willing to do it for free, ooh, baby, that money starts coming in.
And it doesn't feel like work about it. Like you have to.
We be having so much fun. Ooh, we be having no money.
It doesn't feel like work.
I had 12 calls with Carla. Like, Carla, we have got to figure this out. Y'all, I'm going to be transparent. Like, LTTA is super successful. Yet in the eyes of like a successful podcast, yes, we are successful. Do I want to do way more? Absolutely. But we're not in the green financially because a lot of money is going back into the business. Are we in the red? No, we're not losing a lot of money, but it's like, you're kind of breaking even. Like, we're not making a lot of profit. Why? Because the money I make goes right back into the production, into the team, into the, so it's like, it's still
I think we should explain for people that don't know how you even monetize podcasts.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's like maybe some people don't understand the business,
like how you can make money from podcasting.
And I think that a podcast in itself isn't necessarily like most people, obviously the goal is to monetize, but it's really just another form of social media.
It really is.
It's
a lead generator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a community builder for you to build contacts, for you to sell what. And it is still selling, because if it's a live show, if it's a retreat, if it's merch, if it's counseling, if it's coaching, whatever it may be, it's still a business behind it. And I think that's what people forget. They're like, I want to, talking to my homegirl. All right. You could do it for free at home. I promise you.
Just have fun.
Just call your homegirl FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like, a whole production is very expensive.
It's expensive.
But there are different ways. And I feel like people have to look at all those different options to be able to monetize a podcast.
Yeah.
It's easy to make money if you have a purpose behind that podcast.
Right. And I think for LTTA, it's not like, obviously the goal is to monetize, but it really only comes with if the advertiser aligns.
Yeah.
Like there's no alcohol ads on this show. There's specific ads that don't get approved.
There is a fast food chain that wants to give me
They want to give me a check so bad. Carla's like, are you sure? I'm like, I am positive.
Your sister likes it? Does your mom like
your
it?
uncle eat it?
Will somebody do an ad for it on here and you can just look at them?
Yep.
She's just like, no, but I love that, because there are some ads that I won't take. There's some people that I won't speak to.
Right.
And they're like, well, you should. No, stay true. I have other clients that I want to choke.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to talk to this person? What do you mean you don't want to take this brand? And they're like, it just doesn't align.
It doesn't
and because
align.
that does not align, the shows continue to grow, or their business continues to grow, or their personal life continues to grow, because you're not folding for money. And again, it goes back to money.
Yeah, it goes back to money and purpose. If you're truly fulfilled and you have a vision and you're like, I am on this path. Like, I've been sober for almost 2 years. I'm not saying I would never have a drink again. I probably won't. I might not. I have no desire. But it makes no sense for me to promote an alcohol brand on this platform in this season, especially. A couple years ago, for sure. I was drinking,
like tequila.
You know what I mean? Tequila, shots, whatever. Tobacco, weed. I don't smoke right now. Fast food. I don't eat fast food. Maybe if I'm like on a road trip and I have to get some fries, yes, but then I regret it. But I'm not like constantly eating at a fast food chain or promoting that. I'm trying to promote health and wellness. So if it doesn't align with the overall vision of the platform, it just doesn't make sense to take the money.
And I think from a branding and business perspective, more people should be doing that, because you if you lose the trust of your audience, you lose everything. And I think that's what people don't understand is like, you're building a community here, and the community needs to trust you. They need to know that you're coming on here and you're being authentic, you're telling your truth. And there's, especially with how intimate this podcast is, we can't just come on here and promote any crap. Yeah. Like it has to be something that you actually might not be like.
But it's just not you. So if you're here telling a whole story about how you love to eat this fast food or you love this alcohol, because that's part of the script. They want you to say certain things. And you need to mean it.
Yeah.
There's some people that are like, oh my God, I love X, Y, and Z. But then when you try to sell your beauty, it's like,
hold on.
She just promoted this that she clearly doesn't do. And now she wants to promote this lip gloss. She probably don't even use that lip gloss.
Right.
They're probably thinking you're doing b.simone beauty, but using Fenty.
Right.
You know? So it's like they have to know it's something that you truly love, and they're going to trust that. And this is a very intimate platform. Like all podcasts, think about it. Weekly. You're in their ears.
Weekly.
You know who else is in their ears weekly? If they're good. A pastor.
That's it.
Okay, so this is a very intimate platform.
Yeah.
Aside from someone that goes to church on a weekly basis, or someone that's listening to a coach on a weekly basis, or therapy on a weekly basis, they're taking an hour of their time to listen to you.
Every week.
They're in the shower, cooking, driving, taking a shit, taking the kids ready, so you have your headphones on trying to ignore your kids, and they're listening to you. Yeah. Right? So you build that trust with them. So when you come out with anything that you come out because you believe it and you're passionate about it, they're going to spend their hard-earned money. That's something that pisses me off.
What?
Because you're on here building trust, and then you create some bullshit to sell to them.
Yeah.
Right? And take their hard. People work really hard.
Yep.
I worked really hard for my money when I was working a 9-to-5, and the majority of this country works a 9-to-5.
Yep.
So you're going to work every day, paying your bills, and you have some money left over. And now I'm selling you something that's BS.
That's BS.
Yeah.
Or something that you don't even believe in. So you're just talking because you know people need it.
Not okay.
You want to motivate. You want to just talk people or trick people into spending their money because you know that's what the audience needs. No, show up as your true, authentic, vulnerable self. And the people that need you and the people that tie to you and the people that feel you will come to you. You don't have to go trick people and find an audience.
No.
If you just show up authentically, the audience will find you.
I have a really good example of that. I had early on a client and I only work with Black and brown people to this day. And she was
always
a Black
intentional.
Woman, always intentional.
Wow.
I say it on my website.
Okay.
I work with Black and brown podcasters.
Okay.
So this woman was a Black woman and she was into sewing, was a seamstress.
Okay.
So it was sewing. I don't know anything about that. And I am not interested in the content.
For sure.
I had no idea how many people were. She had a Patreon with 3,000 people that we were creating content for. And there's like celebrity seamstresses and people. So they're their techniques.
Learning.
And there's certain machines and there's certain brands. And guess who's paying her to talk about that brand that she uses? Because there are just people that like the sewing and I don't like that. But she was banking and she stayed true to what she really loved to do. So it's like if I would have seen that and I would have been like, oh, I can see those numbers behind the scene. Like I really want to do that too because I know she's making money. I wouldn't have made a dime.
Foolish.
Because all I know I don't know how to do any of it. Nothing. I can't even fix a hole. I can't. So you have to do what you love in business, any type of business.
What were you going to say, Jaz?
I don't know, but in continuation of that, I feel like when people are starting their business and if it is something that they really love, figuring out how to monetize it needs to align with the brand. And it needs to, I think this is where you have to think about a business plan. And it doesn't have to be really detailed. Just think about who's your customer and what are you providing them as a solution.
You can literally go to ChatGPT.
Right.
And ask questions now.
They can, there's so many resources, but what is your business and what are you solving? What are you solving?
There has to be a problem.
There has to be a problem.
A solution to a problem.
Or a missing factor.
And who are you solving that for? You work with Black and brown podcasters. LTTA is for women that are on a journey to healing,
to grow
and elevate. And trying again.
Not giving up, pivoting.
And so knowing your audience, the seamstress could sell thread, needles, sewing machines, things
fabric.
that make sense. And when you start thinking about, I think people want to be too vague. They're like, oh, my product is for everybody.
That used to be me.
I know.
No. I'm just now you know what? LTTA is for women. Right now. And that can always change.
Still broad.
It's still broad.
And that's still broad because
you
can't, when people come to me, my show is for Black women. Black women are not monolithic.
For sure.
So different. There are some that listen to Taylor Swift.
For sure.
And some that are with Trina. So different. And there's some that fall in the middle of both. And then they like both. But that you're not for everyone. What is that I use in my courses? When you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one.
No one.
So when you try to sit there and speak to everyone, it's like, somebody will come to episode 1, 7, and 11. You won't have anyone that comes from all 1 through 11.
Ooh, write that down, y'all. When you try to
When you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to
no one. Choose your audience. And then what did you just say?
About
solve a problem. So if you have a brand in a business, what is the problem you're solving? People want to put their money into something that's helping them. Even if it is fast food. You are helping me through this depression.
No, but it's crazy. Every single business is a solution to a problem.
For sure.
Every single business.
Single one.
When people get too vague with who the solution is for, you can have different demographics. So they're called personas, right? And you have one persona who is, let's say it's a cup. A cup, anyone can use a cup. But is it an expensive cup? Is it a luxurious cup? Is it a cup that is in designer homes? Or is it a cup that can be sold at IKEA?
Right. Because is it childproof? Is it for adults?
Those are completely different demographics.
I have a girl that I follow. Actually, shout out to her, Ivana. She's from Orlando. And she's so cutesy. Everything's so cutesy around her house. And she has all these glasses. And I watch her, her favorite wine glass and a shape like this and a shape like that. And people will pay so much money for different glasses.
Baby, these red cups and
red cups and sippy cups at home. I started making espresso martinis at home. And my son and my daughter broke all of them. So she's 19. I said, go back and buy me some more. But there's just certain households that can have certain things and you just market to them.
Right.
There's a woman that had a course and she was teaching moms how to, being a single mom with toddlers and toddlers only. Mm-hmm. She wasn't saying, I have a course in order to help you to be a mom to your kid. Mm-hmm. My 3-year-old and my 19-year-old, 2 totally different stages.
Yep.
So she focused on one problem. There's single moms that have toddlers are driving them crazy. I almost bought it. I feel like you can teach me something. But there are moms that need that community. So she was very specific, and it may sound niche, but there are 8 billion people on this earth.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is like the more niche you get and the more specific you get, then it feels like you're speaking to me because you're saying, you want a cup that is specifically for your matcha, that has the perfect thumb grip, that the ice does not melt. That there's
loading.
a thickness to the bottom of the glass. The tip is crispy.
I don't drink
and
matcha.
you have the best matcha in the world.
Yes.
That's for me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Not for someone else, but then once you get me as a customer and you get all the matcha lovers as a customer, then guess what? Then you can create one for all the chocolate lovers and all the espresso lovers. And then you have another niche.
Right.
And then before you know it, Amazon started selling books.
Books. On.
That's it.
That's it.
Amazon was for books.
Yeah.
And now you get everything on Amazon.
My life.
Yeah.
Literally.
We were just talking about that. I was like, who started Amazon? What was it? Jeff Bezos. Did he help me? I'm like, this nigga.
I look up to him. Pretty cool. I don't know what he got going on now, but
They
it's
had
like
something.
they continue to grow. My friend works at the Amazon warehouse in Orlando.
They do
I do my groceries on
everything.
Amazon.
What?
All my essentials on
To
Amazon.
your door?
I shop
Same
clothes.
day?
This is from Amazon.
No, they have.
That's crazy.
It's scary actually, but if you look at Amazon, they started with a really specific product for a really specific problem, and they have grown since. Do all businesses need to grow to that size? Not necessarily. I mean, kudos to you if you do. That's like insane.
Kudos to LTTA.
Right.
I didn't start that way. I
It's
started
happening.
coaching people $49 an hour. I started teaching people how to launch a pod. Then I did then I started the academy. And I did a course.
Yeah.
And that was, I think at that time, $400.
Yeah.
I was like, I got 10 spots, sold them in 24 hours.
Wow.
From a podcast that I was doing already that had nothing to do with podcasting and still doesn't. But I was constantly talking about my passion and what I was doing. So they're like, weekly, she's doing that. So I think we can trust her on that. So I started growing from there. It's like, okay, now I have an academy. We launched 800 people. And then I saw a missing piece. And it was like, there's entrepreneurs and business people that don't have the time to sit with me once a week and take 5 to 6 hours out of their week. They don't want to. They're making millions here. Why would they want to come over here and edit something? So like, I can go in there and start working and doing that while this is running on its own. And now I can bring people. So you start growing from there. Like literally, I charged $49.
Yep.
And you pivot. Every business has pivots.
And I think people are just scared to start.
Scared to fail,
You know what? I think that is the biggest
Scared to fail
hurdle of anyone that has wanted to start a business. It's fear.
Yeah.
They are scared.
Everything is rooted in fear.
They're 100% scared. And you are going to continue to be scared. And you are going to continue to fail at some things. Not everything is a success. There is not one business that exists that is successful that has not failed at something.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to accept that
it
it's
comes
going to
with
happen.
it. You got to just get used to it.
The thing is that nowadays you're failing in front of millions. So you think.
Right. So you think.
So you think. It feels amplified. It feels like you're failing in front of everyone, but it's like, you have 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
560 are bots.
Right.
The other 460 are minding their business. And you only get shown to 10% of your followers.
Yeah.
You're not really failing. And if you fail, so what? Talk about it. About how you failed. Find people that are there with you. And if you're always so damn perfect,
you're not
relatable.
It's not realistic.
You're not relatable. Nobody's looking at that. Every product from I'm not say stupid, from the simplest product that you're like, why are they selling all of that? It's the story behind it.
Yeah.
It's the story behind the product, because you could sell a t-shirt and I can sell a t-shirt and you have a story behind yours and I don't have a story behind mine.
And I say that with products now too. People like Beyonce was this is the best example I can give, like genre or person of that whole mystique. Like that generation is over, you guys. I'm not saying every single person has to be in front of the camera and tell their deepest, darkest secrets. No, but going back to her saying about the story, people are connecting with the story and that's why they're spending their money. Everybody sells lashes. Everybody does hair. There's a million breads on the aisle, the bread aisle. Everybody has a podcast. What is the story behind it? Why am I buying this $20 t-shirt over this $20 t-shirt? If they're both quality, right? Of course, you're like, oh, well, this one's better. Okay, physically better. But if they're both quality, they're both good, but you connect with this CEO, her story, her struggle as a mom, her story with her kids, her story with her divorce, and she made it through. Tell your story behind the product and put purpose in the product so people can connect with your story.
I think about wigs, hair, or lashes. Let's say someone who has alopecia.
Yep.
And they've been struggling with alopecia. They don't have any hair. Their lashes aren't really there. And they started this business to beautify people with alopecia. But now they became so good at it, they do lashes and hair on other people. They started with just alopecia. That's that story. And it's like, oh man, I really connect with you. Thank you for sharing that. Can you do mine now?
Yep.
I think also consumers we're in a different season where they're craving authenticity and connection and want to know what, like, consumers are actually smarter now than they were before. And they want to know where products come from. Like, we're more careful with what ingredients does this have? Where is this sourced from? Is this from overseas? Is it local?
Ooh, I gotta
like,
do better with that.
all of the
I've
things.
taken the China stuff.
You're like, I just be like, give it to me.
But in
No,
general, like,
it's
the
true.
consumption has changed. Like, we're in a place where people do more research than they did before because it's more accessible.
Yeah.
And then you see things going on, going viral because of XYZ, and people are just paying attention more.
Sometimes things go viral because of bad stuff.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's not good. Because just as fast as you were doing good, it'll all plummet. And
Quick.
there's no way to come back from it. So you have to be really careful.
Yeah.
That's another thing with these mics. Everybody wants to start a podcast. And it's like, you have to be very careful what you say because it's out there forever. Like, you can take down an episode, but somebody recorded it.
It's already
out in somebody else's platform. And you're like, well, I don't think that anymore. You have to be very intentional. And also know that whatever you said 5 years ago, own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was toxic back then.
Yep. I thought like that. Yeah.
And now I don't. And it's okay for me to change and pivot and grow and evolve from who I used to be. And it's okay to have things. You have certain types of like friendships and relationships, right? Even in business. Like, love the both of you. We're not besties.
Right.
Like, I don't call you and be like, oh my God.
Right.
But it's like, if there's something that I'm really like, you know what? She's really good at this. I'll call you. And even in business, when you're like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this. I don't hold hard feelings towards any business. And it's like, hey, you do what's best for you.
For sure.
Just be, as long as you're transparent with me, I'm okay with that.
For sure.
So it's just, it's knowing all of that.
I think going back to what she just said, like showing the journey, like I'm not the same person. First of all, I'm not the same person I was that made me famous. Like 2016, when I first went viral, this is almost a decade later. I'm a total different woman. But showing that journey has also helped my business.
Absolutely.
And like every single season, if I'm sad, I'm showing it. If I'm, and sometimes I get
feel
through
like
it
that's
first.
part of, you should.
You're right. I'm not just like first day of depression. Today, this happened. No, I get through it. And then I tell the testimony. Or sometimes in real time, I'm like, you guys, this is hard. But that's just one of my superpowers. Vulnerability is just something that I'm very just good at. It's just who I am. But like Carla said, I have been like, yeah, I said that even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I don't agree with it now because I'm a different person. So even that journey, even though sometimes the internet don't let you, they're going to hold you to what you said in second grade.
And guess what you could do? Turn off the phone.
Yep.
And go about your business.
Yep. Control, Alt, Delete. You could, who remember Control,
Blocked.
Alt, Delete?
I mean,
Am I that old?
and then escape if it's not working. Escape a bunch of times.
I know. Not Control, Alt, Delete. Block, Delete.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All of that. You can, the internet is not a real place. The internet can build you.
Yeah.
It can break you down, but it's not a real place. Like, what does that look like on the internet?
Yeah.
I am broke. I am miserable. I am a man. I got a strong jaw.
Jesus.
Which is me for this now.
Jesus. Right.
Back in the day, they used to make fun of it. And I'm like, just be you. The internet, you can shut it off. You cannot pay attention. I know Courtney hits me up and he's like, these YouTube comments. And I'm like, my YouTube's not even big.
Yeah.
And they're so angry. I'm like, what do you, you don't know me. But that's fine. You continue, as long as you're walking in your purpose or at least trying to find what that is without too much distraction, you're fine. And you showing your life, I truly believe, is what has gotten you to where you are.
Man,
for sure.
Without that, a lip gloss is a lip gloss.
Yeah.
It's how you got there.
Yeah.
Your podcast is a podcast. It could be just any regular podcast. Millions of people are doing it.
Yeah.
But you're really being you and coming in and saying, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying again.
Let's figure it out and try again.
And we'll figure it out together because as much as they want to act perfect on their feeds, they all got issues.
It's not real.
So it's like, oh, there
Yeah.
goes somebody that I can relate to.
And that's why y'all have to have real community outside of the internet.
Ooh,
and I think that's another thing that people are yearning for, which we're trying to build here, is community, like real community. Like if we don't agree, we don't, cool. We go through all that. Even with Carla, I've had real conversations with her recently about just pricing and the ups and downs of where this is going. And like she says, I don't take nothing personal. Let's talk about it. We have these conversations. I've had conversations with Jaz, like, I know I owe you way more money. You done took on how many hats? You got on 1 million hats and you getting paid for 2 or 3. You still, everybody's making their money, but I'm just saying there's visions and we have these conversations like, okay, can you do this in this season? You have to have those conversations with their team. But I said all that to say, having community outside of the internet, you guys, like everything cannot be the internet. These people do not know you. These people are fickle. You cannot.
They love you today, hate you tomorrow.
Yes. Have your business and your self-worth be based off the people on the internet. You have to know. I always go back to this for b.simone Beauty. I worked on that formula for so long before we sold it. I don't remember who it was. People on my team, it could have been Jaz or whoever was on the team. They were like, I love it. It's great. It's great. I was like, well, I don't like it yet. I don't like the formula yet. And I know if I put out something that I don't 100% love, as soon as I get a negative comment, I'm going to have doubt. I'm going to be like, damn, I should have redid it. Or damn, I should have worked on the formula more. Or damn, I should have.
Wait till it comes back.
Right.
But by the time you brought out b.simone Beauty, were you already established?
I was established. Yes.
Because I feel like that also probably is not an advice that you would give to someone who's starting out. Do the best that you can where you are. Your packaging might not be the greatest.
For sure.
But you still like
But make sure you like it.
Yes.
Like don't just
and then
put
you can
it
make it better as time goes.
to rush. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. I just wanted to make sure I liked it.
Yes.
Because I'm like, if I like it, I already know everybody's not going to like it.
Right,
but if I don't like it and I just put it out, I'm like, this is too sticky, but I'm going to just put it out because we want to launch. Now, when everybody says it's too sticky, I'm going to be like doubting the product.
But you're like, I like
and
sticky.
Right.
I like
but
sticky
if you like sticky lip gloss or if you like this type of product and you put it out and people are complaining about it, it's like, I don't care. I like it.
But you also lose customers if you don't, like if there's a difference because if you like a sticky lip gloss, you're selling it to people that like sticky lip gloss.
Sticky.
But if you're selling it as like the creamy, no stick, like the best lip gloss in the world, and then people are like, wait, I don't like it. You're going to lose customers, which ultimately is going to hurt your business, which ultimately is going to lose trust. And I mean, even though you experience this not in that way, we've seen what it's like when people lose trust.
100%.
And it's really hard to come back from. It's really hard to come back from, even when things were not your fault.
For sure. Let's make that very clear.
Let's just disclose that.
Yeah.
A and B were not involved in C.
Right.
But you lose trust and it's really hard to come back from that.
Yeah. And that's where being transparent comes in.
Right. But I think what helps is your authenticity and owning up that was a mistake, taking accountability and growing from it and trying again. It keeps coming. And I think people don't realize how much you have to do that in business.
Over and over and over.
You have to be okay with pivoting and trying again over and over and over and over again. And you have to be okay with the vision that you initially had is going to change and it's going to maybe become something bigger than
it should change.
Even thought. Yeah. But like, I think some people get so stuck in like, well, it has to be this way and it has to look like this. And then you stop other blessings from coming to you because you're so stuck on it being one way.
Right.
It's going to change as you change. Y'all, when I first started Close Friends, I was twerking. It wasn't no OnlyFans now. Don't get me wrong. But my lifestyle was just so different. It was more promoted as, I'm so proud of Close Friends. But it was more like promoted as like, BTS, turn up, we getting lit. Like, come on a trip with me. Da, da, da. Now Close Friends is like, if you love the Lord. But it's really not. Close Friends doesn't even exist anymore right now. But I'm just saying it's just such a different woman because I've evolved. Yeah.
I mean, like it initially started with like, you were literally twerking on a pool table.
Yeah.
And
because that's who I was. And that's what I was doing.
But it was the best promo clips.
It was so
ever.
fun.
It was so much fun. But it was like she was already posting this on her close
Right.
friends. And I was like, B, you are just so entertaining.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to monetize this.
Yeah.
But like to move people off of a different platform to OnlyFans didn't make sense. And at the time, OnlyFans was still kind of like.
It still is. So it comes with a negative
connotation,
it does have
unfortunately.
a negative connotation.
But there's a new one now. Substack. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
I just saw a girl. It was shout out to Hey Friend Hey from the Friend Zone. They were talking about this white girl who does these dense bean salads. Y'all be on TikTok?
Oh,
apparently.
yeah, I saw that.
Her name is Violet Witchell or something like that.
I don't know, but I did see
so
like
they're
bean
like, she has a
salads.
Substack, whatever. And here I am like, money. Well, let's
Right.
see.
What is that?
So I looked it up. She has 78,000 subscribers
Wow.
at least $5
Wait, what
each
does
a
she
month.
do?
She does recipes of beans. I don't know. But I
Look
went,
at me, about to get off my purpose. Hold on now. Can I make a bean pie?
literally, I'm like, what do I have in the kitchen? What do I make for my son every day that I can do? You know, I'm like, can I teach podcasts behind there? I don't know, but it just reminds me of Instagram subscribers, of Patreon, of close friends. All of them. I'm like, there are other platforms. OnlyFans, unfortunately, has a negative connotation to it.
Right.
But I wouldn't even say negative. It has because there are sex workers that love what they do.
Yeah.
So it just feels more like a sex work space.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus like, I'm coming here to make
it feels more sexualized than like, yeah, but with close friends, it was like totally fun. And then as it grew and evolved, and she was like, oh, you know what? I'm not really partying that much. We started doing webinars.
Yeah.
We're like, how can we provide value to this community? And then
it goes back to value.
It
Like,
started
what is the
dropping
customer
off.
getting?
Right. Like initially it was entertainment, then it was webinars, and then it grew into something else. And then it was like, you know what? Let's switch off of close friends and focus on LTTA.
Okay.
And those are
And we pivoted, like we lost money.
Yeah.
It was like we stopped close friends with subscribers still on there. And we were like, this just isn't aligned with where we're trying to go right now. Same thing with Snapchat. I was making so much money on Snapchat. And I decided, I was like, I need to work on my mental health and
the way you walk away from money,
do a 30-day fast. And I came back to Snapchat and it was almost 1/4 of what I was making before. And I knew that was going to happen, but my mental health and my clarity was more important.
And I want you guys to know that when she was off social media for a month, and I was posting on Instagram because obviously there was things that needed to be posted for the tour. I'm like, are you sure you want to stop Snapchat?
Mm-hmm.
I can do a little posty post. I can be b.simone. And she's like, no, it's fine. And so like being able to make those tough decisions is
when
really
you called me
important.
about no for sure, I said, hold up.
Yep.
I have this lined up through 2024.
Yep.
And you said, no, I'm stressed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not going to force you, but it's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I've seen you walk away from a lot of money. And, you know, I've walked away from a lot of money, like family and inheritance, different things. And I appreciate that about you and a lot of the clients that I work with, because
Thank
money
you.
is not what you're facing. When I see you actually do it and I just talk about it, I'm like, oh, she's for real.
Yeah.
Like you left. Can I say the number?
Sure.
You left almost $500,000 on the table.
Yeah.
Already booked.
Yeah.
And I said, I get a percentage of that.
Well, let's get to the real thing.
My
because it was
percentage.
wow.
And let me tell y'all, like it wasn't an impulse that you have to, as a CEO, an entrepreneur, and a business owner, and a leader, you have to think about everybody. When you make hard decisions, it affects everybody.
Like I have a team that have salaries that come from there, and I have to sit down with them. And thank God they are just as believers, and they believe in me, and they trust.
They trust you.
They trust me.
They trust you
because I'm like, don't worry about it. Whatever happened, we lost 1 month 3 huge clients. You guys being one of them.
Yeah,
huge for different reasons. It was like you guys closed, another one, the season ended, and things like that. And I'm like, what am I going to do now?
Yep.
And before we knew it, something came that was
better
than what that was.
Yep.
Not, better.
Well, yeah, more. Yeah.
No, but it put us in a different position. We learned even more. Their salaries were still taken care of. We have not missed a beat.
Yeah.
And it's because when something happens, I'm like, okay, it's for a reason. We're not going to take it hard. Let's continue to stay out there. And God always provides. But I try not to operate in fear. Yeah, I'm scared sometimes.
Yeah.
I just do it scared.
Yeah.
And it's like the way you walk away from money, do it scared.
Thank you.
Do it scared.
Yeah.
Do it scared.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's scary. I mean, we had conversations because I was like, okay, pivot, big old pivot.
Big.
But B flew all the way to LA.
I was so scared to tell her.
She's so scared. Me and
I was like,
Frankie
I have
were
to tell you
sitting
guys
there.
something. I flew out there. I was like,
first of all,
I'm resigning from no for sure.
It was the suspense. She texted us. She's like, hey, can you guys meet today? And we're like, yeah, we're going to jump on a call. She's like, no, I'm flying in person. We're like, you're flying in person
died?
to talk to us. Like, we're just like, I mean, we kind of thought,
Right.
'cause,
Yeah.
you know, we had context.
Yeah.
But then she flew in. We're sitting in the car and like,
I was
poor
bawling.
thing, you were
I was
so
shaking.
fragile. And we're just like, you tell us, and we're like, okay. Like, but the first thought was not, I feel like it didn't come until later when we had a conversation, but the first thought wasn't like, oh shit, we just lost our biggest client. It was, this is what we know is what's best for you.
Yes.
And we've seen the sacrifices you've made. We've seen how the weight that you've carried. Why am I going to start crying?
Don't cry, Jessie.
Jesus. But like, we knew that season had ended and we had tried to make it work.
Yeah.
And I think that,
and which
it
is
takes-
ultimately not, I don't want to interrupt you, but not even best for me, best for everybody, for real.
Right.
Because it trickles down onto everybody.
Right.
So as a leader, you have to make the decision, not that's only best for you, but just the overall picture. What is best for everyone?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And I think there's different ways to look at it, you know, because what was best financially for everybody was one thing, but emotionally and spiritually, it was not what was best for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're in the day-to-day. You're a lot more in the day-to-day. I'm strictly
Business.
podcast,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that to this day, people will be like, what happened? Girl, I don't know.
Yeah.
None of my business.
We never talked about it. Yeah.
And I don't want to, because at the end of the day, like, it had nothing to do with me. And I had to trust that you knew what you were doing, that she knew what she was doing, that I knew my team was taken care of. And I'm like, let's move forward. However it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And I'm grateful that that God has allowed me to operate that way in every aspect of my life. Because sometimes I see some people that are so invested in certain things, and I'm like, you're worried about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You're really worried about the wrong thing. You don't know the blessings that can come to you if you mind your business and drink your water.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And you know what's best for you. I can't tell you what's best for you.
Yeah.
I can't tell anyone what's best for them. All I can do is like assist you in whichever way I can in my zone of genius.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I can't do much else.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. So we're about to wrap up, but let's go over the points. I think the first point was do your research.
Do your research.
Carla's second point was, what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? I think the third point was,
what are you resolving? What is the solution?
What is the solution? Have a product or have a business or start a platform that is giving somebody a solution to some type of problem.
Have a story behind it.
Have a story behind it.
That's why every website has an about us. About the company, and they tell a little story there.
Mission statement.
Bring you in.
Yeah. What is your mission statement? What is your vision statement? What is this company, this brand all about? You know? Have your story. Have your purpose. I think that goes back to your why. Your vulnerability. Be vulnerable. Be real. Do not chase the money first. Do not just take a bag if it doesn't align with your vision for your brand. Make sure you say no to things that are not aligned with direction in the community you're trying to build with your brand. And what was the last one?
Find a mentor.
That's good.
But also, don't just slide in there. Can I be your mentee? No, bring value.
Yeah.
But find someone that's already in that space, and you can learn, or just you can watch them.
Yeah. I think too, like if you are working a 9-to-5, can you get a 9-to-5 that is more aligned in where you want to start a business?
Or at least in that
because
realm.
You can get paid to learn. That's exactly how I started.
Yeah.
I started getting paid to learn.
Yeah.
I worked at a photography studio, and I was getting paid to learn how the business ran and how everything operated. And from there, I took gems and I took information.
I was an accountant
put yourself
for 6 years.
in a position to learn.
A literal accountant, but I know how to handle my money.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, I there's times that I go a little overboard, but I'm very frugal with my money at times. I know where it's going. I know what the accounts are having. My accountant hates me sometimes, but it's fine. But at the end of the day, it's like, do other things that will help you within your business afterwards. And really know all the aspects of your business before you outsource. Oh, that's please.
That is
know what
like,
all of it. Know all of it. Because you start hiring people to do certain things for you, and they will lie. Like, well, you definitely don't know. But I try to explain to you as much as possible in every client what's going on here. Because they'll be like, I just see a couple cameras and a couple cables, and it's like, it can't be that hard. And that's going to forever be a production in this space. Production and talent thing. It's like, well, it seems easy. I'm like, well, hold up. It's not. But if you were to do it yourself, you would know that no one can take advantage of it. Because I can tell you it's double the price, and MP4 and the JPEG, and we have to upload and the DIT. You're going to be like, what? But if you understand it, no one can take advantage of you. And that's the best way. If you're starting from the ground, understand everything. You don't have to be a master at it, but at least understand. I think Shaq talked about that before in his book. I think he has something for dummies. He started reading like Business for Dummies to be able to be better at his businesses and not be taken advantage of.
Yeah. That's so important. That goes back to doing your research.
That part.
Circle back. Do your research. If you think you did enough, do it again.
Step number 1, research. Don't ask me nothing in my DM. How do you start an LLC? You ain't Googled that yet? Google it.
On Google.
It's on Google.
But also the first thing that's going to come up is going to make you pay a whole bunch of money. You can do it yourself. Keep looking. Look at different tabs on Google.
Go to YouTube.
Go to the first one.
Like cross-reference.
Yes.
Think about if you were trying to cheat on a test.
Yeah, what would you do?
What would you do and how would you do it so that you could get an A? That's the mentality you need to have for starting your business. Go to TikTok, go to Google, go to YouTube. Check multiple resources. Don't just do the first video.
And it has to do with podcasting and you're looking for someone to teach you how to launch a successful one. Go to someone that not only has a successful one of their own, but you know other people that they've worked with.
That they have
launched.
Because
you can do right now a start your own podcast ebook and kill because you're just successful. You don't know.
Well, no, but then she'd be like, Carla, Jaz.
No, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
And that would make sense, but you would be transparent and saying,
sure.
I have a producer here and I have a business mind here and we put this together.
For sure.
Versus you're like, I can help everybody start this podcast.
Absolutely not.
And it's like,
I still ask her questions. I still ask questions.
Same one over and over. But it's fine. I'm going to answer it.
He's like, we're trying to wrap up and we're like, but also.
I'm like, wait, Carla, so the RSS feed. She's like, nigga, you had an RSS feed for 4 years. I'm like, but I don't understand what it is.
And it's fine because I will continue to explain that because I don't want anyone to ever feel as though I'm taking advantage of them. But you should also ask, if you didn't ask me all those questions, I'd be like, oh, she's silly.
For sure. And it's also because, once again, I've delegated I'm not looking at the RSS feed every day. I'm not physically in that every day. That's not my expertise, But like you said, at least knowing a little bit about it.
Right.
Like, okay, where do we house it? What is this? What you need to know.
Or having the team. Like, I think that I fill that gap in for you, not with podcasting, but like in other areas.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't know, if you have someone on your team that does know.
Yeah.
You know, because you do reach a certain level where like B does not need to know how to add things to her website. She doesn't know how to doesn't need to know how to do some things. Right. Yeah. It doesn't make sense anymore. But that's again coming from being able to build a business outside of that with how she started.
And you do help with the podcast. You have plenty of ideas. Ideas.
But
you call and you're like, who else can we bring in? You have advertisers and you're like, we're going to bring this in. How can we do it? So it's like,
I'm saying that like, I don't speak the podcast language, but I speak business language. So when we get on calls with like web developers, I understand the language.
Yes.
But I'm saying not everyone, if you reach a certain level, like sometimes you can surpass knowing that knowledge. But if you're starting from ground zero,
you need to know.
You don't need to know everything, but know a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, at least be in the call. Yeah. At least listen and kind of understand where it's going, but you don't have to be an expert in it.
Right.
Yeah. Just be a part of the conversation. We love you guys. We hope you got some gems out of this episode. If you want more from my girls, let me know.
And that everybody should be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay to have your job.
It's okay. It is okay to find your purpose outside of starting a business. It might not be for you. It is. Here's Caleb. We gotta go. I love you guys. And good luck on your journey. Blessings and peace and love to you. If you're starting a business, if you really know that this is your purpose and this is going to fulfill you, God bless you. We hope you do well and try again. Don't give up because it's not going to be just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. You're going to have ups and downs. It's literally like this, ebbs and flows. But if you are fulfilled and doing something that fulfills you and something that you feel God called you to, you'll never want to give up. You'll never want to give up. You will be on the floor crying like, we have to open up another bank account. I have an idea, LLC. Like, you're just not going to give up because it's just in you. Like, this fulfills us. What we do fulfills us. What I do fulfills me every week. Sometimes I'm like, I don't have much to say this week. Or I get, this still, I'm not going to say intimidating, but this is still a challenge for me. Like, it's still a skill I'm working on, interviewing and being professional on the mic. And when I have, A-list celebrities coming in here, I'm like, okay, this is an interview. Like, some celebrities don't want to have a conversation. They just want to be interviewed. So it's still challenging me as an interviewer, but I show up every day because it just fulfills me. So it doesn't feel like a job. So I love you guys. I hope you guys are inspired So just keep going and propel forward into your purpose. This is another episode of Let's Try This Again. And we will see you guys next week.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Okay, so on YouTube, I feel like if people did their research, couldn't find answers to their questions, maybe they should drop it in the comments, and then we can take a little peek and answer a couple questions for the people that did the research that couldn't find.
And if you ask a dumbass question, excuse me, ooh, that's my first cuss word this whole episode. I did so good. If you ask a dumbass question,
we're gonna call you out.
We're gonna block you.
No, I will use it as an example. This is what we mean when we say don't ask these kind of questions. You didn't do your research.
Like what? Oh yeah,
like if someone puts
we're gonna put that in the comments. Subpar. How do you start an LLC? This is what we mean. At
Melanie 235. This is what we mean when we say we're not answering that.
Yeah.
Go Google. But other like more specific questions that businesses or podcasts, I don't mind answering those because I can give literally the blueprint out for free.
Yeah.
You're still not me.
I feel like they should drop it in the
sauce.
comments if they have questions that they did not find Googling.
Okay.
Or they need more clarification on.
Right. Like drop them in the comments. We'll take a little peek.
Drop below, you guys, and we will answer them. I love you guys, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Ta-ta. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Let's Try This Again podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and share the podcast. Until next time, stay resilient, and remember, I love you guys.